Here I am. Let me see what you are telling about my new intro. Ooh, I completely forgot. No, I'm so sorry, Abhishek. I will. At the end of the class, I will. At the end of the class, I will. I will check your video. I completely forgot. I'm so sorry. Cool, isn't it? Yes, I'm stepping up the live streaming thing. I mean, because I like it. I have to. Also, I mean, it is. It is. I mean, I just like to play with these things. Also, I know that other teachers were copying me with the thing that was good morning first of all to everyone. But I someone said that other teachers were using also the live in 10 minutes. So I want to step up the competition. I mean, because then someone could say, "Ah, look, Marco makes live in 10 minutes like other teachers used to do." Said no. I have to be always a step forward. Anyway, before we start, beside Abhishek, that is my fault that I have to check my the file that he sent. Is there? I know. Thank you so much. Is there any other question before we jump into today's class? By the way, tomorrow there won't be any class. I asked the director, but the owner of the school, and he said, no, it's better not to make class on the national holiday. So tomorrow there won't be the REVIT class. So if you are on the tomorrow group or you follow it now, but I will make it next Friday also. So, is there any particular question that you would like to ask me before discovering something new? That is new, but it keeps following the subject that we have started last week. That is about making custom components. So, in general, do you have any kind of question or not? Let's see. Nothing. 0. I have a question. When you have two floors and you are on the top floor, so wait a second. I have a question. That is, when you... Okay. This is nice because we will see this today as well. So, I have a question. When you have two floors, so first of all, two floors. So this is two floors. And now too many questions. Next time let's start from the first. When I have two floors and you are on the top floor, okay, I can see everything underneath and it is distracting. Okay, let's fix it. So let's open something that already has two floors to see why this is happening and how to fix this problem. Yes, it is about underlay. So look here. When I go to level 1, there is lower floor, of course, and I go to hidden line. This is clear. It is clearly visible that underneath this level there is nothing because this is already lower one, so I can't see anything underneath. When I move my point of view from this one to my upper level, so when I go to level 2, in this case I can see these grayish lines that are telling me what is below. And as you can say, this may be distracting, even if sorry, these should be used first of all only to understand if you are precise in making your ground and your upper floor. Like, can you see, this is anonymous. I changed the name of this file because this in reality was a midterm of one of your classmates, and you can see that this is terribly wrong because there are a lot of things that are not matching. But anyway, it is true, this is confusing because in reality in my upper floor there are not these walls, so I don't need to see them. How to fix this problem is very simple. I have to be in the level where I don't want to see these things. I click outside, so I have to be sure that I'm not selecting anything. And into the properties, I will see property of the floor plan, so of the view. What I have to do is I have to browse properties till I see underlay, okay, and in here it is written that underlay is level 1, so from level 2 I can see level 1, while to avoid viewing what is underneath, I simply select base, that means down, and I click known, and I click apply. Boom! In this way, all those elements that were visible before, they are just hidden again, and you see only elements that you have on your current level. When you want to show them again, you go here, you click level 1, look down, apply, and you see this. So I can use this in order maybe to fix, let's say, my door, so that it will perfectly match in both levels. I do this, I click move till here, fantastic. Then underlay, none, apply, boom, it's gone. That is what I did, and it is still visible. It is still visible. Question, I have a question for you. That is, did you place the floor, or you have only walls in your project? Let's see the answer. Let me see. The answer is late. So the question is, but if you don't put the floor, you can change whatever you want into the underlay, but you will see things that are underneath because they are underneath. So what it means is that, look, if I make something here on the level 1 and they are geometrically there, when I go to level 2, of course I will see these because they are there. Come on. Hey, oops, exactly. So, the underlay works when the structure is correctly done. So, when you have the floor that technically will cover this element, with underlay you can enable, like viewing in transparency, or disable it. But if there is no obstacle in between, there is no way to hide them. Okay? So this question is fixed. Let's read them again. I want to ask you about edit profile, Abhishek. Then it says, if I make a wall under a staircase, how to prevent the wall from overlapping? No problem, Emma. How to prevent the wall from overlapping? This is an interesting question. So there are things that you can do. So let's see this. Let's say I make a stair. I make this one. Perfect. And then if I go in here, I want, let's say there is a wall in here. Like that. Perfect. And if I go in 3D, I will see this. I will see that the wall and the stairs are clearly overlapping. So first thing that I need to try is, this is an open structure staircase. So first thing, I will change the stair from assembled stair to something that is closed, like a precast or a monolithic stair. And this is first thing that I can do. Second thing that I can do is, this is a try first, is I can click the wall, I can click attach top base, I need to attach the top, and I need to see if REVIT accepts the stair as element that will model my wall, and as you can see it doesn't, because when I click attach top base, REVIT will look only for floors or for how can I say, roof objects. So just to show you, if I have a floor instead, and I draw this, but let's say I move this floor into my level 2, I was already into level 2, sorry, so I move it into level 3. That is how this thing is done. Oh, wait a second. I mean, if I go here and I make a floor, so just to show you, perfect. But in 3D, I will move this thing up, so into the I offset. Let's say I type 2000, and it goes up. Then yes, then I can select the wall, click attach top base, and I can select this. So this is what we need to do. We need to be able to create a cutting object that in this case should be a floor or a roof, but it has to be a cutting object that matches. Wait a sec, one by one, wait a second. That matches the shape of the stairs. Because if I am lazy, I can tell you, look, only if the staircase is just a simple ramp like that, without bothering many other tools, you could select the wall, you could select edit profile, and you could pick this line of your staircase and change the profile of your wall, cutting it like that, delete these extra lines, so you make a triangular wall, you click OK, and this is easy. But if I explain these, I know for sure that someone will say, but Marco, what if my stairs is more complex? Okay, this is too easy. Let's see if I can show you something more complex. And then I will read Katia and Adil questions. Let me finish this one. If my staircase is a little bit more complex, I can try to do something else that is. If I know that a wall is cut by a floor or by a roof, I need also to know that the wall can be also cut by another wall in a slightly more complex way. That is this. Look. First of all, I can make a floor by face also. Technically, I make floor and roof. They can be made by face. So what this means is that if I have my stairs, what is stair here? Let's make the stairs. Wait a second. Let's go to level 1. Exactly. And let's make my stairs that are here. So I have this and then this. And I click OK. Again, the only thing that I will do is I will make these like a monolithic stairs. So I change them or precast. I mean, just to have a monolithic. That is here. Exactly. So that the structure is continuous. What I can do is technically this. I can select floor. I can select floor by face. And I will pick, let's see if it allows me. I will pick this face. No, it doesn't. So I will use roof by face because the roof can be angled. Okay, multiple select. So I will pick. Why? I was too fast. Why it doesn't? Doesn't matter. Let's find the way that works for sure. So, I want a wall that will be cut underneath this staircase. So look what I will do. I make a component and I make a component in place. Or first I make the roof, just to let you understand what we are going to do. So I have the wall in here. Perfect. And this will be impossible to be made with the technique that I showed you before. I mean, not impossible, but a little bit more annoying, because in here, in there, it will take forever. So, see this phenomenal thing. What I have to do instead is I will make a component, and I will make a component in place. And it will be a wall. Okay, wall 1. And I will make a shape that is the projection of the profile that I want to cut. So, even if this is angled, what I will do is I will make a reference plane in here. And I will call it whatever name, like Marco. Okay. Then I go to create, but I will create a void extrusion. I will set my working plane as the plane that is called Marco. Okay, I will go to the 3D view and I will start drawing a shape by projecting these lines that are edges of my staircase. Maybe this one too. Yes, they overlap. It's okay. So I will start from this shape here, but I will make it better. I will make it continuous. So I will trim these with that. And I will remove these overlapping line, because if not, Revit won't leave me alone. Okay. I will trim these with these, this with this with that. I remove this one because it's a duplicate, and I will trim this with this. So I have lower profile of my beautiful staircase projected here. I will simply complete this shape by making it taller, because this wall is gigantic, like that. Perfect. And I will close this. I will finish my void extrusion. A line cannot intersect. Where they are intersecting? Ooh, there is a line there. Yes, this is my fault, sorry. So again. Okay, so finish these. I will extrude these void extrusion so that the void extrusion is thicker than the entire wall, but I get this cut. And before finishing this operation, so before click finish the model, what I do is I click into my modify, I click cut, I select first the wall that I want to keep, so these, cut these, and then this. Boom. Oh, I forgot. I should make a copy. Wait. Because there are two walls that I want to cut, but you have already seen the surprise. So I just copy these twice, because I want to cut both walls. So I set a working plane level 1, set level 1 exactly, and I copy this. Okay, I should copy with a known value, so that then I will move it back. So I click cut, select first wall and first void extrusion. Then I move these back where it was. Was probably here. And then I click cut, select the wall that I want to keep, and I subtract it with this solid, and boom! I finish the model and I have this phenomenal result that I have the staircase cut in order to stay perfectly underneath the staircase. So it's basically like in 3ds Max we would have used ProBoolean, and we have used like subtraction with ProBoolean. Okay? Oh, thank you so much. So let's see this. Why are the rails of the stairs sometimes not straight? This is very complex. It requires me to think about it. So let's see. I have a question. Some of the blocks that are downloaded don't show when I'm loading family. Okay, let's see this. First of all, when you download objects, you need to understand which kind of category of objects you are downloading, because when you download, let's say, an object that is a REVIT family, that REVIT family can be different thing. What it means: if you download the family that is about furniture, you will be able to load it only if you go to architecture, component, and you click load family from here. But if you have downloaded a family and the family is about a window, you must select window first and then click load family. Because if not, even if you have just downloaded, but if your family is about a window, you can load it from component, or if you have downloaded a door or stuff like that. So first of all, check which kind of family you have downloaded, and if instead it says it's only the files Autodesk Revit project, it means that you have downloaded an entire project that is not a family. So it is a project like this, and if you need to use a component from a project, you have to double click on it so that you open just that component. You go to File, you save as your family and not the project. So just this family, in this case it is a window. Okay. And you will save just this window as RFA, that is Revit family and not Revit project. So then you can use just this component on inside another project. Okay? And this was for Adil question. So Katia gives us the permission to open her phenomenal Revit midterm. So Katia, download. Let's see. Okay, so let's go to level 1. Why you say that your rails are not straight. Where? They look perfect. If you open my midterm, you can see the problem with stairs. I am opening your midterm. The one in the green square in the 3D. So the 3D. Ah, you probably mean this part here. Why this is not linear and it is with this particular broken shape? Is this? Huh, I don't know. I have to see. I don't know why it's like that. Let me check. So let's delete the railing first. Yes, but I can see that it is broken here. So let me double click the stair. Edit the sketch. Go to level 1. No, level 1 here. And understand what is happening here. So, the question is, why you have made boundaries of the stairs with these separate lines instead of making them with one continuous line? So, as you can see, boundaries of your stair are this green line. Okay? So, why? I mean, no. So sorry if this hurts, but I will make these with one continuous line. I will make this with one continuous line. Okay, let's see if it fixes. No way! Now I go to 3D. Woohoo! And everything works. Believable, isn't it? Marco 1, Revit 0. I mean, this is challenging. Like, you wake up one morning with an idea in your mind to make a class, and then questions are drifting in completely unexpected directions. So, let me see. I have an L-shaped staircase on the lower part of the stairs. I need all rails. On upper part, I don't need the rails on the left side because there is a wall. Can I partly... okay. So, first of all, let me close these, because if not, people will say, Marco, fixing files and whatever. So, let's start from a new one. And just an architectural template. So, your classmate is asking this. There is... she has an L-shaped stairs, so something that should look, let's say, like this. And when we create this staircase, it happens that by default, the railing is placed all along the host, that is our staircase. And if we try to delete this one, we will delete the entire rail, while your classmate is saying, wait, in here I'm going to have a wall. So probably like this. So let's say here I have my building that looks like this. So I need railings here till there, and then I just want to delete, to remove this part that is matching the position of the wall. First of all, is this the problem that you have? Let's see the answer. So we want to get rid. Perfect. So let's see how to fix it. It's not that hard. Way number one, let's see if it works in one click, is I can try. I mean, this is an experiment in real time. You can try to click split element, split it here, and then boom, it's done. And so sorry, was this fast? You want to see it again? Because I mean, it was too cool. I know, and it's beautiful. So technically what I have done is simply with split, that is this tiny tool in here, when you have a continuous object in general, you break the continuity of this object, and this is a lot more useful than we think. For example, even when we just make lines, so I'm just drawing lines, and I make a rectangle. If I want to do this, so in AutoCAD it is very simple to turn, let me sketch on top of these. In AutoCAD, if I make these two overlapping shapes, then it takes 1 second by using trim to turn this shape into something, let's say, like this. Or not even, no, sorry. Into something that is like that. Because in AutoCAD you select trim, you trim these, and you are done. In Revit it looks like it takes forever, because if you use modify and you use trim, because this is one line, if I trim this with that, it trims those elements. But in reality, I wanted to keep this part in here, while I wanted to delete this part of this lower. So look why split is so useful. Because in reality, in here, because we want, and I will use two colors to let you understand, we want to make this part trim with that, and we want this trim with these. what I have to use to make my life easier is I have to split this continuous line. By using split, I will tell Revit that even if it was one continuous object, with split you need to treat these as two independent elements. It's like adding a vertex, I will say, along our shape. So I click split first, so that I add that vertex, and then I can trim this with that, this with this. Okay? This is exactly the same thing that I have done into the railing. So, if in my project, look, even if it would be a little bit weird, but if in my project, for I don't know which reason, I have walls that are going like that, and I have that the railing is overlapping those walls, and the result is terrifying, I will say, what I have to do is only I select my railing, I split it, and I split it in each point where I want to break its continuity. Okay? And I can, in that case, I can even split in more points, but in this way, boom, I will just remove certain parts. Okay? It worked. Perfect. I am super happy. Yes, it's okay. So, technically, one of the things that I wanted to show you today is something that I have already shown you from the question of your classmate. That is, I wanted to show you that in Revit you can not only use join when elements are not perfectly combined together, but you can also use cut. The thing is that by using cut you need to make void shapes, and this is pretty interesting, and believe it or not, it is sometimes a lot more useful than you may think. And I want to show you one particular case that it is an example of using cut in practice. So not just by using weird things or just the wall underneath the stair, but sometimes we may experience this. Look, I make my wall, and sorry, I forgot. Sometimes I would change it, but I just like to work in centimeters for no reasons. I just don't like all those numbers when you work in millimeters. Okay, and this would be like 300 centimeters tall, just a wall. And I want to place a very, I will say, very common window. So I will put my window here. I am super happy with the result, but then I can see something that I honestly don't like. That is, this window is placed in a certain way that the hole in my wall is rectangular. And especially in, I would say especially in Italy, but I don't think only in Italy, but in old buildings, it happens a lot of times that when you make a floor plan of a house, you may notice that the wall is not continuously thick, but wall makes this first, and then you have your window here. Like this. Okay? And the thing that I have instead now in Revit is I have my wall, and by using that window, the result is that I have something like this. I have this huge, deep frame, and the frame then has this tiny window here, and I am having this. Sometimes this is not what we want, and we need to create this particularly shaped wall. So how to do this? This is not that simple. I mean, unless you know that, as I showed you before, you can make basically pro-Boolean operations with your Revit just by using component in place. So, if you have that specific problem, you should start in this way. That is, you make a wall, and then you go to Architecture, Component, Model in Place, and you click Wall, and you click OK. You call it as you wish, and then there are multiple ways to do it. Technically, a more precise way will be by using blend. So look, I make a plane, let's say here, and I will call this middle. And you will ask maybe why I'm not also creating a plane in the front of the face. I'm not doing that simply because, and this is another new thing that I want to show you today, when you have planar faces, you can also pick those existing planar faces to draw on. So, if I go on my 3D view, what I can do is I can immediately go to Create, go to Blend, and as a first face I can click Set, and instead of choosing a plane with its name, I can pick a plane, and I click OK, and I will pick this existing planar face, so that I will draw a rectangle. Oh, sorry, I was touching zoom. And I will draw a rectangle in here. Then I will pick another shape I will draw, but I want to see in transparency, so I go to wireframe, and when I click edit the top, I will set now that my next plane must be the one that I've called the one in the middle. And as a second shape, I will simply draw another rectangle like this. Okay? I can also start both rectangles from the ground. That maybe it would be even more realistic. So I go back to the base, and I have these two rectangles, one into the face of the wall, one in the middle. If you want, you can be more precise when you edit your when you make these shapes, so that you make them equally spaced. So you set the distance here, let's say 12. The distance here is 13, so now you click it and you make it 12. You click it and this is already 12. Perfect. And if you want, you can also do from the top. Select these and you make it 12, so that there will be a perfect equal space in between. Then you click OK, and this will be the shape that you have created. Okay? These must go on the opposite direction. It has to go inside the wall. Okay? And what I will do is, before closing my model, I will click Cut. I will select the wall first, and this second element. No, don't tell me I haven't clicked void. Sorry, this is my bad. I've explained it before, so I have to make void blend like I've made void extrusion before. This is 100% my fault, so just forget what I've said, but I will do the same thing. So I click edit the top, and I set to pick a plane. So sorry, I haven't clicked void. And I make a rectangle. Exactly. I'm so sorry. I haven't clicked void. It's 100% my fault. Then I click edit the top, set as middle plane, and I make my second rectangle. No, what a basic mistake. And again, if you want, you can be a bit precise. Okay, so I set these 12, this 12, this 12. Click finish these, and this will be a void extrusion that has to go to my plane here. So now I can click cut, and I will select the wall first and my void blend, and then yes, I can finish the model, and I can also go back to my hidden line, and bim, bada boom, I have basically carved the wall in this way. And then I can add windows. I can even edit the profile of my wall, and I can place a rectangle here that it would be perfect like that. Okay, edit the profile, making it a little bit taller, and I can really start by creating whatever I want in Revit, not by being limited in objects that I find into my library, but I can start modeling elements by being 100% free to do things that I need. Okay? Just to show you that you can combine also objects together by using join. That is something that we have seen when in the section we have the floor and the wall that are overlapping each other. You make join and you fuse them together. But you can also use cut, but cut works if your objects are hollow, or they are void forms, so they must be made like void shapes. And this was first thing that I wanted really to show you today. But there is something more interesting that I want to show you today that is still about modeling in place. That is, when you make models, you need to understand that modeling in place is perfect when you make an object, you make a component that you know you will use only in that particular file. Because if I make this void thing here, or if I draw a table in here by using a model in place, then I can't use it, I can't load it into another file. So, where is the deal? What you can do by using same tools, just starting from a slightly different point of view, will be this. In Revit, look, just to show you again, when you click Model in Place, can you see that you can create all of these kind of objects? You can make ceilings, column, doors, electrical, floors, furniture, generic mass, mechanical planting, blah, 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 blah. But they will stay in this particular project. But see this unbelievable thing. When you go to File and you click New, in Revit you can click Make a New Family. What is this? It's very simple, and if you make a new family, you need to start from a template, and the template will be a family template. So you can see that you basically find same exact names, so you can create columns, curtain wall, I don't know, doors for curtain wall. You can make even more things, because here there are also construction and systems template. But if I want to make a furniture, I will start my template as a metric furniture. If I want to make a roof, I will select if I find it, there should be roof somewhere, I don't know where. Here, roof, model roof based, floor based, wall based, or just a generic model that is not in a particular category. But let's say I want to make a furniture. So I start by making a new family with furniture template. But why? Simply because if I start in this way, I will start a completely new independent file. This file will basically start by having only 3 planes that are this one, and now we are on that, but there is also this one. So basically this is an empty file that starts by having top, front and left plane, and I can not only, as you can see, look, reuse same exact tools that I was using into model in place. But the very big difference in starting a new family is that when I will finish, I won't simply keep this model into a certain project, but when I will finish saving this family, I will save it as a file. I can place it in my library folder, and I can load it from whatever project I am creating. So let's say I will do something that it would be unbelievable. That is, I want to make a very basic table. But not only I want to make a table, but I want to make something more complex. That is, I want to make it parametric. And this will blow your mind. Look, first of all, let me show you a sketch of the table that I want to make, because I know that you will be surprised by how cool the design will be. That is, it's not true. I want to make, oops, it's too thick. I want to make a table that will look like this. I know it is very innovative. No one has never seen a table like that. But there is a twist in here. That is, I don't want to make one table. That would be too boring. I want to make a family of tables so that I will have the possibility of choosing inside the project that I can have the table that would be a square. Or the table that would be super long. Or the one that would be shorter, and so on and so on. So I want to make one file where I find family. So a family of tables. And the concept that is behind these, I hope we will finish it today. If not, there is time. The concept is basically this. Instead of just drawing our and modeling our object, what we have to do is we need to create a structure of reference planes, and we will give dimensions to our planes, and we will simply say that this won't be a dimension, but this would be a parameter. That this won't be a dimension, and let's say we will call this length, and we will call this width, okay? And then we will say that the table that we draw must have edges sticked to these planes. So in this way, when we move our planes, in reality, we will stretch the table. So this is the concept behind making a parametric furniture. So look, I will simply start by making this plane, and I will call it left. I will make this plane, and I will call it probably right. I will make this one, and I will call it back. I will make this one, and I will start by calling it front. This is the center, and so on and so on. So what I will do next is I will use aligned dimension to be sure that the axis that is into the center is there. So I measure. I measure from my left to the center to the right, and I click outside. And I will simply set that they must be equal. In this way, when I move one of them, they will both move closer or further from the center. I will do same thing for the front and the back. So I click I use aligned dimension, back, center, front, outside, and I click equal. So then again, in this way, when this parameter will change, both sides will keep the center where it is, but both sides will be stretched. Okay? I have almost done. I need then to add instead another dimension so that I measure directly from left to right. And this will be my length. From back to the front, this will be the width. Okay? And I will do something phenomenal, that is, I will select my dimension and I will click. By selecting the dimension, I will click here when it appears label, and I click create parameter next to label. And I will call this parameter with the name that I want. So for me, we said this is length. Okay? So now it says length. I select this dimension here. I go in this area where I see label and I click create parameter and I call this width. Okay? Till here? Yes? No? Maybe? Tell me if also here I've made the mistake because I called it length while no. And how can I modify it now? What is here? Give me a second because I need to find where is the name of my parameter. Here. It's called length. No. Here. Edit parameter. Exactly. Sorry. length. Okay, sorry, this was my bad. So now this is just the beginning. And now we have to see something unreal. Look, I will quickly start by creating an extrusion. And I will make extrusion by making a rectangle. And I will start by adding dimensions to this. So I will say from here to here. This is units are millimeters again. Yes. So I will say that this will be 100. Perfect. But then I will lock it. Then I will do the same in here. I select these, change the number, 100, perfect, select it, lock it. In this way, these will never change its size, but I will do something even more phenomenal. That is, now I will copy, or I can mirror it. I mean, it's the same. And I will make multiple copies. I will copy one here, one here, one there, so that I have 4 legs of my table. And what I want is that when I change my size of the table, of course legs must follow the adjustments. So what I will do is, see, because this is too cool, I click Align and I will select the plane first and the face of the leg, and I will lock this alignment. And it is tedious, I mean, it is a bit repetitive, but if you do it right, it is amazing. I keep aligning this plane with this face, and I lock this alignment. And I repeat this for all exterior faces of the drawing of table legs. So align first the plane, then the line, lock it. Align first the plane, then the drawing, lock it. Align first the plane, the leg, lock it. Plane, leg, lock, plane, leg, lock, plane, leg, lock. Then I can click OK, and I can give the height that I want for table legs, let's say 700 millimeters, apply. And if I go in 3D, I will see this. I have these 4 legs, but if I go back to my reference level, so the view from the top, I will see that if I drag these, all 4 legs will move together, and they will remain sticked to those planes that I have created as reference. Okay? I will make one last piece to the table that is, of course, useful. That is, I will make the top of the table. So I will basically do this. Look, I go to the 3D view, just because I'm unbelievably lazy. I could also make a parametric height, but just to avoid overcomplicating things, I will set that I want to create my extrusion by picking the top of these legs, so that my top of the table will start from there, and I will make a very simple rectangular extrusion. Okay? And take care, I'm not that bad. I know that this rectangular extrusion is not matching sizes of my table, but I don't really need to be precise, because even for the top of the table I have to repeat that process. That is, I need to add alignment constraints. So I go back to my reference level and I click align, reference plane, side of the top, lock it, plane, side, lock it, plane, side, lock it, plane, side, lock it. I click OK. I just give, because now it will be a little bit weird, it looks like a butcher table. I just give the height a more realistic value, like 50 millimeters, and bim, bada boom, I have my table. That honestly could be made in an easier way. I could just make 4 boxes and another box on top, but we are making not only an object, we are making a parametric object that is managed by 2 values that are called length and width. Okay? So ready for this? Because this would be unbelievable. What I can do now is, I know that if I go to create and I click, I start changing, start playing with these buttons, I will find this. This is, this one is properties, so nothing important. This one changes, if by mistake, let's say, you have created a furniture, but then you realize that you wanted to make a wall, you have to click this button here with this yellow symbol, and you have to choose right category of your object. Okay? So this is what this button is about. The one that is a lot more interesting instead is this lower button here that shows you these 4 small cubes. In here you see this. In here you have basically parameters of your table. And you can start, and this is where the fun begins, because in here you can start typing a new value for length, let's say 700, a new value for width, let's say 2000. You click apply, and if I was right, so if I haven't skipped any step, see what happens to my table. Boom! And my table, in a parametric way, changes its dimensions. So if I make it 1,000 by 1,000, apply, boom, and it becomes square. And not only I can change it time to time, but I can basically create preset, sounds ugly, but it's preset sets of parameters by clicking up here, by clicking New Type, and I will show you what it does. I click New Type, and I start calling this square. No, square. Okay? And I click Apply. Then I click another type, and I call it long. And I will make it, let's say, 2000 millimeters long, 800 millimeters large. And if I apply, it will be like this. I can create as many variations that I want. I will make a new one. I will make it extra long. That would be just weird. It would be a table that will have... What it means, audio? What it means, audio? Audio. Audio is working. Audio. I mean, I was in the middle of a masterpiece and you said the audio wasn't working. So look, what I was doing is I was creating family types. But why? Because now, if we want, we have these 3 presets, and let's make it 1000, like this, apply. So now, look, just by using one of these presets, I have created 3 variations of the same object inside this family that is my table. And I could add a lot more parameters. I could add material, the height. I mean, I could make it very complex, but what is important is understanding how the thing works. But then I click OK. I save this in my metric library. Let's say US metric furniture, and I will call this table so cool table. Okay, so why using this instead of using model in place? Because in this way you have saved your object as external file, and if I close it now, okay, and let's say I use this file where I was working before. Now I go to component, I click load family, I saved my file inside my furniture folder, and I find my so cool table furniture. I can click open, and I will discover that Revit gives me my so cool table in, if I click here, in my 3 variations: square, long, extra long. So look, I can populate my project with square tables. I can then choose to use the long one, as well as using the extra long one, and I can use and reuse files that I create in this way inside all of my projects. As well as I can even inside a single project, I can edit the type, and only in this project I can make a small variation so that the square will be like 80 by 80 centimeters, and they will change. But in this case, they will change in this file only without affecting the family file that I have saved. Okay? Is that clear? Yes? No? Tell me something. Perfect. I am super happy. This is a little bit tricky. Also, the more complex shapes you have, the more complex will be to add parameters. But it is something that you do once an object in this way, and it will be like a long operation at the beginning, but it will save you a lot of times afterward when you have to reuse your objects. And just to finish today, and just to also try to start answering one of your classmate question that was how to use materials, we need to see a little bit of introduction into Revit materials, because they are very complex, and I want to show you this simple thing that is. First of all, objects like created like these, they need to have material as parameter to be easily changed. We haven't explored this yet, so we will start managing materials of more common objects, like how to change the material of a wall, of a floor, and stuff like that. So first, let's see the wall. If I make a wall and I want to change its material, I need to start understanding that there are several ways to do it. Some of them will be easier, some of them will be less easier. But if you use certain features, it is simple. If not, it becomes a nightmare. So, right way, and the way that really works well to change the material of a wall, is by editing its type, by going into structure, and by editing layers. So, this is, for example, a wall that is called generic wall. It has no finishing layers. It has only one structure layer here. So, if I want to add materials, what I should do is I should insert a layer. So, I will move it up, first of all, and I will give a certain thickness, let's say at least 1 centimeter. And I have to add a layer underneath, so I will move it down, and I will make it 1 centimeter at least. But yes, thickness is changing, because now it will be 22, so I will go back to its overall thickness by changing this to 18. And what is important is that if my goal is to change materials, what I have to do is the layer that I've placed on the exterior side and the layer that I've placed on the interior side, I have to click first of all where I see function, and I need to change this function to finish. And if I also want two different independent materials, one that will go on the outside and one that will go on the inside, I will click for my other layer, I will click it finish number 2. And this is first step that I have to do in order to prepare my wall to correctly receive materials. Because then, once that I have made this simple first step, next to the function of the layer, I can see the column that is called material. So, if I want a certain material on the outside, I click here. And when I click, it is hard to be seen, but there are 3 dots here appearing. I click here and I wait so that REVIT will load my material browser. And I can choose from these materials here for now. So let's say I want brick on the outside. I select brick here on my material browser and I click OK. And if for the interior I want another material, I click these 3 dots on the finish interior layer. I will use something like gypsum, or let's see if there is wall paint. No, I will click gypsum. Okay. Click OK. Click OK. Click OK. And now this wall type that is called basic wall, that I have also already used, but all those walls created with this type, they will have bricks on the exterior face and they will have white on the interior. If you want to check, you can change quickly your visual style from hidden line. You can change it to realistic. And you will see that they start by also having the texture on this side as well. Okay, so this is to start working with materials. And this is something that is true for all those objects that are already made in REVIT. So, if you have walls like this, you edit the type, you add finishing layers, you change material layer by layer. But this is the beginning, because there are a lot of things to know about materials. You make a floor, same exact thing. You have to. First of all, we can just try by loading another floor type, just to see how it looks like. But we will see that if we edit the structure right now has no finishing layer, and the floor is even easier than the wall, because if I insert a layer and this layer is last layer, this is what is visible if I see the floor from underneath. So let's say I make it finish 1. It has to be at least, 1 centimeter. It could be probably even less, but why? And I will change this to 14 to keep same final size. But this, let's say, is the floor from underneath, so where people see the floor as ceiling. If I want to add the tiling, let's say, on top of the floor, I need to add another layer. It has to be another finish, but this must be moved up, 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 up. So it has to be the very first element that is visible. It has to be finish. I can click material, and let's say I can try to see if I have nice looking like oak flooring. Ooh, fancy. I click OK. I can't keep this as 0, so I make it 1. So I make one of these 13 just to keep same final thickness. Layer function. What do you want from me? Why? What do you want from me? You know what? Delete this. Delete this that I don't like. And make these thicker. So, let's say I make this floor. Then, if I use it, let's say I place it here, and I click OK, I will see that my floor will have also the texture. If you are asking yourself, can we edit materials? Can we use our own texture? To all these questions, the answer is yes, but not today, because it would be too complex and too long, and I don't want to show you this in a couple of seconds. But just last thing that I want to show you is this. There are objects, let's say like a window or doors, where materials instead, if you can change them, you need to edit the type, and you can see that there must be a group of parameters that is called material. So you can change if basically the person who has created that model gave you the material as editable parameter. So if this is happening, you can change, let's say, instead of the glass panel, and you can, click glass, and why not? You can make metal, stainless steel. So this window, instead of having a glass panel, boom, it will have a stainless steel panel here that makes this like Fort Knox. Or you can change this door. You edit the type, and again, there are materials. So one is for the panel, one is for the frame. You click it, and you can use, let's say, another material. Just using a random one, a purple random material, and boom, and it will start changing this. Even for objects, you can change the material. The only difference will be, if you remember, I have created this table, and I haven't created a parameter called material. So when I go to edit the type, in here, there is not a quick way to change the material, but even for objects, if you don't find the parameter called material, you can open them by double clicking, and this is also true even if you make model in place, but each time that you make a 3D solid, no matter if you make extrusion, revolve, sweep, whatever, but if you want to specify a material for your solid, this is just a property of each solid. So you can change it by changing, let's say, default floor. Boom. Or you select it, you go to these properties, click it, and you make glass. Technically it should be the opposite, but this will be a table with glass legs. Then you click load into the project and close. Yes, overwrite. Boom! And my tables will have a gray top and they will have these weird looking thick glass legs. Okay? So this is an introduction to materials. You can use for this week materials from library. Next week, instead, we will jump immediately into material editor, and I will show you how to make your own materials, and especially how to increase number of available materials that are inside our project. Okay? Is it clear? Is it fine? Tell me something, because for me this will be enough for today, and if you have no doubts, no questions, as I hope, we will see next week Thursday. Perfect! So be so nice. Try to load something into the folder of your homeworks if you have started thinking about your final project, sketching and stuff like that, so that in this long weekend I will check them, and I can also see if there is something more that I can add into my explanation by checking your ideas at least. Okay? Have a nice weekend too. As usual, have fun, not too much, and we will see next week. Bye, everyone.